So yeah, there's been an update to Counter-Strike. Remember, Valve don't care. They don't update things. They aren't updating the game. The game is abandoned. Uninstall the game. Every person who plays the game is a cheater except me. It's dead internet theory, wrought large on a, whatever you want to say about CS2. I don't play the game because everyone else who plays the game is a cunt, not a cheater. That's where I'm at, right? But I don't have a good time when I play the game. Not that I have a good time when I play Dota, but at least Dota engages my brain in a way CS doesn't. So, anyway, Valve have indeed updated the game. So Valve have done an update, and they've started season 3, or season 2, episode 1, as it's bizarrely titled, as you can see on the thing. And this is what they had to say. They said, Premier Season 3 begins today. It's time to start working towards your Season 3 medal. And as before, that's probably the joke, isn't it? Season 2, Part 1. Yeah, because Valve never does 3. I get it now. Yeah, sorry. I don't do Reddit-level memes. Yeah, so that's why. The cake is a lie, bro. Just fuck off. Anyway, Premier Season 3 begins today. It's time to start working towards your Season 3 medal. As before, the colour of your medal will correspond to the highest CS rating achieved during the season, and the bars will reflect your total wins, with 1 bar for every 25 up to 5 bars. To be eligible for a medal, you'll need an account in good standing, 25 Premier match wins, and an active CSR at the end of the season. That's obviously a CS rating. New for Season 3. With the new season comes an update to the active duty map pool. Overpass is back in, and Anubis is out. So I guess that's as good a place as any to start in the great discussion about whether this update is good or not. Now, I had some immediate opinions about this because I was like, well, that's going to suck for certain teams. Like, there are some teams that have specialized Anubis. Anubis is obviously one of the newer maps in the pool, but it's been the staple of a number of teams that have maybe had some issues. So Aurora are probably dead in terms of their map pool. But I've got to hand it to play.gg. They saved me the time. I was going to go through, pull the stats to see who this likely would affect the most. And they did it for me, almost as if editorially. They have people over there that come up with good ideas. So thanks for that, play.gg. You can see this is an article called Anubis Removed, Who Are the Biggest Losers? And they pulled out the statistics for the teams. And you can see we're absolutely right to say it affects Aurora most of all. It was their specialist map. They were the best team in the world on Anubis at one point. And obviously, they were relying on it to drag them through series in a best of 3, particularly in MR12, where on your tertiary or, whatever it might be map that you allow in as a handshake, 1 or 2 rounds can ultimately dictate who wins, simply because of just how you have less rounds to play with in MR12. Aurora really needed Anubis in the pool, a record of 26-9, a 74% win rate, unprecedented. And unfortunately for them, it's no longer there, and it's not clear. I don't know what Aurora do. I don't know where Aurora go in terms of what, because Overpass is pretty much the complete opposite to Anubis. We'll get into that in a second. Then, and this is interesting, the hits just keep coming for Team Liquid. Team Liquid have refused to make roster changes. That's a bad idea, in my opinion. I don't think you'll find many teams crash out of a major 0-3 after a sustained period of doing poorly and having brought in a new IGL and getting a new coach and saying, you know what, we're going to stick to the program, stick to the plan, and we're going to plow through another season now that we do have like delineated, structured seasons in Counter-Strike. We're gonna stick to the plan, stick with this team, and see how it goes. Now, the one thing they needed in their arsenal, not the football team, is a map they can rely on. Team Liquid no longer have a home map. I mean, I was looking at it on HLTV. Their maps now, it's a very distant second. Team Spirit obviously affected as well. Not that it matters, in my opinion, to where Team Spirit are. Team Spirit are good on a lot of maps, competitive on a lot of maps, and I don't think they need Anubis in the pool to win tournaments, especially now that they've made a roster move, they've got rid of Magic's, so and brought in someone that should theoretically be able to do a little bit more, although there may be some role overlap that they're going to have to work through and practice with. But ultimately, I think Spirit are going to be okay. I don't think Anubis is too bad for them, and you can see, realistically speaking, it's a bit of a middling map in the grand scheme of things. G2, I know this sounds like it's actually bad because it's only a 53% win rate. Again, if you look at G2 stats, they certainly needed it. And then, of course, the Mongols, which it's coin toss, and Vitality, which bizarrely, the best team in the world, don't really care about Anubis all that much. Never a map that generally people did Anubis to them, and they still had a 50% fucking win rate on it. So that's fair. Now, on the stats, the last 3 months, you can see here, it's not a huge sample size really, but you can see that Anubis, they'd only played it 3 times, but they won it every time. They played Ancient a lot more. They had a 66% win rate. They did okay, but then after that, it's a disaster. There's not a lot of places to go if you're Team Liquid right now. And so this puts extra pressure on Shuhei to kind of construct some playbooks on some of these other maps. I mean, for me, it's kind of weird to think about a Team Liquid with 20% win rate on Inferno from, like, they've won 1 in 5 on that map. That's sort of crazy to me. It used to be their bread and butter back in the day, and it's always something NA teams have done well on. I know the map is ass now and should have definitely been taken out of the rotation, but this is where Team Liquid are. So for me, other than Aurora, it is Team Liquid who are the most hit, and everybody else, it's sort of negligible. It's really, really bad for both of these teams, in my opinion. Now, interestingly enough, Maja did say as such, and they've just had a tough time of it in general, Aurora. Like, they've had all of that weird issue going on around this sponsor investigation that might lead to, maybe still might lead to arrests. We don't know where it is. You can see here, Valve really hurt me, bro. In Space Soldiers, I enjoyed Cobblestone and Cash, and both got removed. And now in Eternal Fire/Aurora, I really enjoyed Vertigo/Anubis, and both removed. Now, the fact that he enjoys Vertigo, I mean, you get what you fucking deserve, as the Joker might say. But ultimately, there are going to be some players and some teams that are just like this. Every time you master a map, we now no longer know where Valve are going to go with it. And so I'll just make this point. Why isn't it possible at the start of a season to say, we will take this map out at the end of the season and we will likely replace it with this map? You don't have to hard commit. You just commit to the one that's going out. We all know that's going out. That at least helps. That at least gives you an idea about whether the juice is worth the squeeze, in terms of, do we still want to play this map for a season? Do we want to go away from it now? Find a new map this season? It's totally up to you. Like, for instance, Aurora, had you said at the start of this season, Anubis is going out, they still would have been picking Anubis because they're the best player in the world, the best team in the world on it. So you still pick it. But you've got a bit more runway through which to figure out another map that you might want to. You might want to work on your permaban a little bit, whatever it is. And if you especially know what map's coming in, you can now really construct good vetoes or whatever. So I'd like to see it done like that, or we have a period of time where there's a vote or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's a rough one for the Aurora guys, and you can probably put paid. At the start of the year, we were wondering which trophy it was they were going to win, because they looked like they would be one of those teams that might get 1 or 2 over the year. They were easily a top 5 team in the world. And now you can just put all of that to bed. That's not going to happen anymore, unfortunately. Just to speak broadly about my personal opinions, I still thought Anubis was a hugely flawed map. Now, it's not as flawed as where Inferno is, but the reason Inferno gets to stay, as we'll talk about in a moment, is that Valve have made some significant gameplay changes that will change Inferno. They're likely to change Inferno the most of all. Inferno has become a hugely problematic map, not just because of the map and its construction, but because of everything else around it, the way the economy that works, the fewer rounds, the way Molotovs were spread in, all of this stuff. And they've changed this. So, okay, cool. We should do another run with Inferno because it's an iconic map. And if I was a betting man, I'd say that's how Valve feel. But Inferno is definitely the next in line to go. All the people that complain about Mirage, I don't think they're looking at it through an esports lens because Mirage always throws up bangers. The next map in line to go is Dust 2. Dust 2 plays slow now, it plays shit now, and the game's not very good to watch. It's a bit of a middling map anyway. People don't seem to enjoy it or specialize on it. So you had to pick one of those two, and they've gone with this. And while Anubis was flawed, it wasn't the worst map in the pool. Teams were adapting to it. It was still grotesquely T-sided, and maybe you could have seen how the CT changes would have altered that map and removed Inferno or removed Dust 2, but they've decided not to. Now, Overpass coming back, I loved Overpass. I hated it at first because it took a while for me to really understand what the unique value proposition was on the map. And I was looking at it from the perspective also, I still played Counter-Strike back then. And Overpass is one of those maps where it does require a lot of coordination. It does require a lot of game intelligence. And it does you have to know when you push all your chips in the middle to make plays that are low percentage. And you have to know when to save. And, there's a lot of moving parts to Overpass. The thing I always had with Overpass was I hated Overpass to play, and I was letting it inform my opinion about the esports side of things, which you should never do. It's day and night. It would be like letting fucking 2-on-2 street basketball inform your opinion about what an NBA franchise should do. And ultimately, I realize, when you go back and you look at the teams that mastered it, like, Fallen, he was a great fucking Overpass player and Overpass caller. You look at Classic Astralis, they fucking did things on Overpass that were just pioneering at the time. Actually, it's a unique value proposition map, especially in a map pool where things are getting a bit more condensed is the word. The map has basically now choke points that have to be contested at the start of a round almost every time without fail. If you don't do that, you're going to lose. It's particularly on CT. If you don't fight key parts of the map, then that's that. And we haven't seen how MR12 plays out on Overpass either. So now it's exciting. I always thought Overpass, as I said, was a very good high-level tactical map. It requires a lot of understanding about people's plays. You have to have very good reads. It's so big compared to other maps. Rotations are super, super important. And it's going to be very interesting to see which teams are able to pick it up. Spoiler, I have an inkling which teams it might be. It's going to be the teams that play insane tactical Counter-Strike or the teams that have unbelievable entry fraggers, because ultimately once you get a sight on Overpass, it's kind of going to be a little bit like Nuke. It's kind of going to be a little bit like Inferno. The retakes are really difficult, essentially. And so with the way MR12 is, how you prioritize saving because of the CT economy, you're probably going to see lots of saves on it. But we'll wait and see. I mean, that's just my initial read based on how I think Overpass is going to slot into MR12. But I'm excited it's back. It's, like I say, it's a unique map. We've been relying on Nuke, really, to be the big tactical map that makes you think. Overpass is back, and it's going to change things up quite drastically. You know what the litmus test is? How do Mongols fare on Overpass? That's going to tell you how the map is, essentially. If Mongols play well on Overpass, then aggressive T-side play is rewarded. If they play bad, it's a tactical CT sort of map. So we'll see. We'll see. But right now, yes, in chat, you are right. Nuke is the best map. And I don't even think it's particularly close right now, which is a crazy thing to say. Anyway, a good change. I like it. I'm surprised it was Anubis. All the people saying Mirage are crazy. Mirage always throws up great, exciting games of Counter-Strike from an esports perspective. But we will see. Then they also go on to say there are a few gameplay changes with Season 3. Fire from the incendiary grenade now spreads faster, occupying space rapidly to counter rushing teams. And as I said last night when I was kind of reacting to it, I was live when the patch dropped. I said this is a very important buff for CTs. It feels like it's going to be very potent and powerful for them. Why do I say that? Well, ultimately, the problem you've always had is Ts can occupy a part of the map. You're a CT. You throw your incendiary grenade into that part of the util. The Ts are sat waiting with a smoke. They drop the smoke. All you've ascertained there is, I know where the Ts are now, and now they're behind a thick, luscious smoke and could go anywhere else on the map. So, in terms of what that does for the CT economy, it's just another way the Ts can come out ahead. You know, I've thrown the incendiary, they throw a smoke, they move away. Right, cool. I've got to buy that incendiary again next round, and I'm on the side that has worse guns. We've got worse guns and less money, and we have to spend more to hold our position. CT's hard in MR12, and for real. So having the fire spread faster is a buff because at least you're going to get some chip damage. I think what you'll probably start seeing now, you might see people being emboldened to almost do, because I've had a look at the videos, it spreads quite fast. You might see people chant like peaks off incendiaries and stuff now, you know, like you go over the top, someone swings and kind of sprays down because you might get a kill, but you'll see what I mean. Now, this might be scrub theory crafting, but I don't mind throwing opinions out there at the start of a patch, at the start of a change.
Season 3, the CT Incendiary Grenade has gotten a buff. The fire spreads rapidly.
Like,
what this fixes is the meta of simply running through the CT mollies as they pop.
And remember,
in Season 3, the CT Incendiary Grenade has gotten a buff. The fire spreads rapidly. What this fixes is the meta of simply... It might not be
as significant as you think, but even getting a little bit of chip damage is value on the CT. It's actually it's actually value. So, you peek out, you drop that, they get some chip damage, you fucking spray down at the fire as they're trying to put the smoke down. You might just get a lucky kill or take them even lower without them being able to trade anything back because they're essentially thinking about how to put the fire out, which you're going to have to do a lot quicker. So it's going to create a little bit of chaos that might enable the CTs to, have an advantage. It might just be nothing. It might be one of those. I remember, of course, when they changed it so you could drop grenades and all the players theory crafted. This is why I don't mind doing it, because if pro players talk absolute bollocks, then I may as well chip in with my 5 cents worth. But, they said, people are going to be able to pick up grenades and stand on one site, and they're just going to be able to do endless chain flashing. And none of that happened, of course. It just was as impractical as it sounded, like it was going to be right from the start. Then the MP9 has gotten a bit of a nerf. First of all, this is Valve have taken the piss there. The MP9, it is not a bit of a nerf. It is as fat a nerf as you're ever going to see on a gun in Counter-Strike. I think it might be nerfed to the point of not being bought now. The advantage of the MP9 was that it traded really well even at distance. It did decent damage for an SMG. The recoil pattern of the MP9 was like really generous, and how fast it kicked up was really generous. And also, and this was the crucial part, the jumping accuracy. It's still really, really cheap. And so it might still get picked up, but I could see this being phased out for other options, maybe. The lack of the jumping accuracy is huge, because what this enabled you to do was essentially jump round a corner, like it was Call of Duty, and still win a duel, win a trade. And that's wild. That's not what CS is about. So, again, this was a necessary nerf for the health of the game. I feel the MP9, I mean, we said this all during the No Majors Club. The MP9 was the most broken gun in the game. And then for me, it's the Tech 9. But we know the 5.7 cells are out in force saying it's the 5.7. I think I would have liked to have seen the Tech 9 get a nerf, because the Tech 9 just seems to be a run and gun. It makes the game run and gun, which I don't like for Counter-Strike either, frankly, because that's not what it is. So that's a good change. That's thumbs up as well. This is interesting. There's also a change to the CT economy. Win or lose, CTs now receive a shared team award for each T eliminated in the round. The more you win and the closer you keep your losses, the more you'll have to spend. Now, explicitly, it is a $50 award for every terrorist you kill as a CT. And just to show you how shit Reddit is and why I cannot stand this whining community, they put it out, and obviously there was like a spell check thing. They misspelled terrorists, and so they couldn't even spell check. And you can see team income for 4 eliminated terrorists. Now, how you can care about that, I don't know. But this is Reddit for you. And then someone, this is the most upvoted, warning, speculation ahead. Historically, it seems they just split singular and plural localization strings into separate entries. You can see in this, notice team bonus, shorthanded eligibility, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know how their localization engine fully works, but I presume that :P quaver big S2 tests whether the value of S2 is greater than 1, and if so, we'll then use the string after. What is this? This is the most upvoted thing. Essentially, what they're saying is, because of how they do their coding, Valve can't put S's at the end. You thought it was only the number 3 they can't use. But apparently, because of how they do localization, they can't use a plural, right? Now, in reality, they probably just left the S off by accident. I mean, that's the far easier explanation, but that's what this guy did. And everyone's like, wow, that's interesting. This is cool. Yeah, look. No. And then people started debating the code, right? And then just the plebs that couldn't engage with that conversation, I'm one of them, they just complained. And then, look, it's a coding issue. I just couldn't give less of a fuck. Like, by the way, if it stayed like that for the rest of the game, people would literally use it as an example of how Valve don't care. I swear. So we'll see if Valve do update it, but I reckon it's just a spelling mistake on a thing they just rolled out. Now, the other interesting part of this is it's not just terrorists you kill with guns. If you make the terrorists bunch up and they get got by the bomb, you still get the money. For me, I think it should mean, okay, this is what they're going for. They want to make CTs go for more defusal attempts. They want CTs to do more retakes. You've watched a game of Inferno. You know a 5-man save happens way more than it ever should in Counter-Strike. You know, it's as simple as that. If they do a gamble stack, they don't want to retake a site on Inferno. They might just save all of their guns, particularly if their guns aren't great. And that's the optimal thing to do right now. And I think that's crazy. The problem I've got, I don't think $50 is enough. Because, you get you get a $200 bonus if you kill 4 of the terrorists. Right, or 4 of the terrorists die to the bomb or whatever it might be, and that's an extra $200 for everybody. That's a flashbang. I mean, I'd be tempted 100, 200. So I think the CTs are that far behind, but we'll wait. We'll see. We'll see if it does move the dial. I think you'll still see a lot of saves, particularly on maps like Inferno. I haven't played with it yet, and I've seen some people say it's good, and some people say it's not as good as you think it is. We'll wait and see. It'll get figured out. Whatever the meta is, whatever the correct meta is, it'll get figured out. Ultimately, though, what this says to me is Valve have looked at the meta. They've dictated it's 2T-sided and it's got a broken gun in the game. They've nerfed the broken gun in the game, so it's no longer a broken gun in the game. they've taken out the most T-sided map in the game to replace it with a map that used to be hard for Ts, and they've also made it so CTs now have an what's it called, asymmetric money advantage, which is like the first time that that's ever occurred in Counter-Strike history. So all of which is to say they are paying attention to where the meta of the game is at. They've probably looked at some data we don't get to look at, and they've made some decisions accordingly. I would have liked to see more sweeping changes, but yeah. Actually, that is a good point, Shorties. I did meant to bring that up. Where the money does come in is if you're T and you lose the pistol, which shouldn't be in the game because pistol rounds should be removed. But anyway, if you're T and you lose the pistol, you still have a good buy on round 2, and very often we're seeing CTs lose that. Now, if with CTs having the extra money after the pistol, they can get a little bit better of a buy. They can get some rifles on round 2. Mind you, the FAMAS is still behind the Galil. They should have probably given the FAMAS a little buff, whatever. And also, it can get you utility as well that you might be reticent to use against the Ts. One of the things we saw lots of during the last major, and indeed just in this year in general, is if you win the pistol but you lose that second round, it's worse. It's worse than if you lose the pistol, and that's crazy. That shouldn't be happening in Counter-Strike. So I think this is a way to shore up a fewer of those second round losses. So we'll wait and see. But this is these are all good changes. There's not a bad change here, in my opinion. And I think most people will welcome these changes, apart from the teams I talked about getting wrecked by Anubis. On that point as well, I think there was a funny thread. So it was as pros wake up, first reactions come in for the map pool changes. And you can see Sun Pius thinks it's a W. Obviously, a lot of AWPers do like Overpass just because you've got very long contact points. You know, you think about bomb sites, you think about the toilets and all of this stuff. Like, you know, think about you can sit at bank. You know, there's loads of cool places to play as an AWPer on Overpass. It's probably the funnest map to AWP on. You've got ZTR. He just said no. He just did a full Darth Vader, while Ash was going yes because, you know, he's a coach. He's cerebral. He wants to fucking come up with a cool fucking scrapbook. By the way, watch out for the rise of Gamer Legion. It's happening. Don't rule out Gamer Legion getting to the final of this Fisher tournament. I'm pushing my chips into the middle for Gamer Legion. I'm liking what they're doing. Anyway, and then Twists, who's just, you know, their boot camps exhaust them. They're 0-3 at the major, and now their best map gets taken away. Why, Anubis, man? He's saying it in that Will Smith voice. How come he don't want me, man? Also, good point in the top comment for a change. Astralis lose their permaban. Very good change for them. That's another angle to look at. All the teams that... I left this out earlier. 2 more teams to think about in this context. Astralis lose a permaban, gain a map that's really good for AWPers and Device used to be really good on back in Prime Astralis. Astralis stocks on the rise, but then here's the other thing. It's actually bad for FaZe as well. FaZe is... and Mouse, yeah. FaZe is... the one map they were really building in to better leash into the team was Anubis. They were picking Anubis, playing Anubis. Now you don't have Anubis. You've wasted all of that time. So we're going to wait and see. And yeah, Mouse as well. Another team that have been doing the permabans. So anyway, what I'll do is, while we're here, because why not? This will pad out the runtime. That's what we like to do around here, pad out the runtime. I can actually show you the replies from just community members in general that get those initial reactions to the map pool change. I've shown you Madges, obviously. Team Spirit did post about it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to process this information. Maybe I finally hit the point of being a boomer where I don't understand memes. I've been doing so well, but even in mimetic form, they're shit, right? OG, they did a surprised cat which I don't know if that's good or bad surprise, but they're surprised. matey, they've got other things to think about. But they're like, Overpass is back. Yeah, it's back. Yeah, that's what they do. I didn't even know my man felt this way. Owner Pixel was a certified Anubis hater. I didn't know. Someone should have told me. We would have had more to bond over when we were drinking together. Navi thought it should have been cash. They're tearing out their own eyes as a result of that. Not too far behind them were Fnatic, who also felt SpongeBob was the appropriate medium through which to express their opinion. And then, just to end, I do feel for them. Aurora. Anubis what? Why? What? I mean, yeah, you can see the difference. Fnatic with 10 likes. That's where they're at now, and 2,000 for Aurora from their engaged fan base. But anyway, people were reacting to it, and we're going to wait and see. But I hope everybody can agree now the map pool changes are absolutely necessary. And it's the way that to keep the scene fresh, to keep the professional teams engaged with doing what they're doing, and you've always got to be working and evolving and making sure you don't rest on your laurels, because MOBA players have to deal with this all of the time. MOBA players have to deal with, you might just hit a patch and your entire hero pool has been nerfed into the ground and you're no longer a competitive player. And this means your job might be affected. So you've got to go and you've got to grind and learn all the heroes. They're cut from a different cloth, the MOBA players, compared to FPS players who Counter-Strike players. There's just not a lot of changes made to the game. And what few changes there are, they fucking cry about relentlessly. Flashbang lasts a second longer. Unplayable. I fucking hate you, Valve. Hate you forever. Hate you forever. So Maui had a good opinion on this as well. He did a video which you can go and watch. He said CT side is saved. Maui, one of the world's leading analysts. And look at the thumbnail. Valve has saved it. Look at the picture he's used. Great. And yep, he understands engagement, and he is mewing. He's mewing his tits off there. You're absolutely right. So good for him. But also, and this was the point that kind of got debated on Reddit. He's just right. This is what should happen. I'm a fan of Valve changing the pool by one map every 6 months. Hope this is a trend that continues. Now, bizarrely, there were people that were complaining about them making a map change. And they were saying, oh, but the biggest tournament of the year is coming. Why would they do this? I was like, wait, the majors? Oh, you mean Cologne. And ESL are such dickheads, right? They're just such dickheads. Like, I just don't understand what they're going for here. It just seems crazy to me. But they announced that following an update from Valve, the official map pool for Counter-Strike will change with Overpass replacing Anubis. This change comes into immediate effect within the ESL Pro Tour, with IEM Cologne 2025 being the first event to be played using the new map pool. Yeah, why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't you? Who the fuck are you? Yeah, this is Valve's competitive map pool. You make money by using Valve's game for the purposes of tournaments. Teams have a week. What are we saying here? What a complete nothing statement. But this is just in line with the ESL. They always want to make you know. It's like that meme about, you consent, she consents. Did you forget to ask somebody? And then Jesus is like looking at you, like wagging his finger. No sexy time for you. You've got to save it until marriage and get into heaven. Right? Well, it's like, the community consents. Valve consents. Did you forget to ask somebody? Fucking ESL, they think you got to go to them all the fucking night. No, mate. Yes, you'll use the maps that Valve say you have to use in the competitive map pool. Of course you will. But they even made a blog post about it. Yep, just to let you know, we will be playing the tournament that's a week away on the patch that Valve released. Crazy. Anyway, Blast did something. I mean, they just clarified this. They're going to finish out their qualifiers on Anubis and the old patch, the open qualifiers that all the shitters play, and then their closed qualifiers, which are going to start on the 1st of August, are going to move across to Overpass, and their main tournaments, Bounty and Open, will use Overpass, and all the new changes and all the future patches, etc., etc. So great job. Right? Now, this has been a patch that has upset the skin cells. Now, listen, after sitting down and talking to OwnerPixel, I love skins now. I love them, me. Love them. I love that I can have a Marble Fade, Dragon Law, Nexus, Lexus, Akimbo, Factory New, Fade Baboon. Love that, right? I've got 5 and a Katowice Hollow on the side. I'm doing this because I am angling for a skin sponsorship. You'll see. It's going to be hilarious. But anyway, I'm not joking about it. That's not a bit. I'm going to make the stream pay for itself. So anyway, the trade protected items change is very interesting. And they say today we're introducing a new feature to help keep your Counter-Strike items secure. In the unlikely event you lose control of your account or were the target of a scam by a bad actor, you may reverse all Counter-Strike item trades from the last 7 days. Obviously, we hope you'll never need it, but you can review your recent trades and find the trade reversal feature on the trade history page on your Steam account. For more information about what happens when trades are reversed, visit the FAQ. Now, I don't know a lot about skins, don't know a lot about trading. I went to the subreddit where the skin traders live, and it's fucking hilarious. I didn't realize they're just cryptards. They're like the crypto bros. Everything they say is just fucking cringe. They're all on there going, the people that are bearish on the market now are doing that because they only got into trading in CS2. Us old skinheads, which, by the way, you know, what a thing to call yourself. We know we're bullish because we know that these skins are only going to get better in value. And it's like, fucking hell, dude. Like, what are we saying? Like what are we talking about? These are just cosmetic items in a game that shouldn't have real world value because you shouldn't be allowed to sell them. If I was Valve, I would get to the stage where anybody that was selling my shit, I would just ban their Steam accounts. Like, just, you know, shut it down once and for all. If I see a skin being traded to someone else and I get any inkling that you took money for it, I'm just going to fucking shut your account down. Anyway, they've all been losing their mind. A lot of people have been losing their mind because they think having these more robust consumer protections are bad for what they do, which I think is quite instructive about their whole industry. But anyway, I did have initial thoughts about this. My first is, I have never accepted the premise that Valve say, your account, your problem. That's mental. That is mental. I have a Steam account. Somebody hacks my Steam account, transfers all of my digital items to another Steam account. You can trace it, see they've done it, and you won't give me them back. You won't just press the button and reverse the trade. And the only reason you won't do that is because it's going to make an extra workload and you might have to employ people to sit in a call center and do it because there's so much scamming going on. So that's always been my position. Now, I've never been scammed. I've sold all of my inventory anyway. I used to have a few knives and I'd get all these like DMs and yeah, bro, it's me, your brother. Just all these like morons trying to add me and get rid of, you know, I'm old school internet. You're going to have to work pretty hard to fucking scam me that way. But, you know, via social engineering or whatever it is. But unfortunately, I will say, they have got more and more sophisticated in how they do it. And these, you know, QR code hacks, right? If you fall for the sign up to this tournament account, sign up to this tournament website one, or you know, you get a Steam message. I had a Steam message from someone saying, hey, bro, psst, I'm entering a CS tournament right now, and I'd really like it if you would, you know, like sign up here. And I'm going, what, you want me to play in the tournament, mate? And it's like, no one would want that. No one would want me to play. Yeah, that's right. You're Richard Lewis, yeah? Like, yeah. Nice one, mate. Nice one. Yeah, you totally know who I am. Yeah, completely. This is genuine. But anyway, the QR codes are more sophisticated. We saw, and probably this is why Valve have done this now, we saw someone go into a major just impersonating Blast staff, and people are fucking scanning QR codes and losing their inventories. That's a real shitty thing to fucking happen if you're in a major, Valve's premier fucking Counter-Strike tournament. So ultimately, yeah, they should have more robust protections. Now, what this does, in layman's terms, in fact, look, you can go to the FAQ, and it'll show you more details. Basically, if you do a trade, right, there's a 7-day period in which trades can be reversed if you're in a trade protected game, which I imagine will apply to CS, Dota, etc., etc., etc. If I say, oh shit, I want my skins back, I then can't trade again for 30 days. I get a 30-day trade and market cooldown. Now, what's interesting about this is as well, this could affect some of the websites. This, you know, we don't know how it's going to pan out. I'm going to show you some opinions of different people that might be right. They don't necessarily all agree. But this just seems to me to have been what should have been in place at the start. Like, you do realize, and I know he hates bringing this up, but like Launders got scammed. He had a pretty big inventory, a pretty decent inventory. You know, one of the casters of your fucking game, Valve, that goes to majors and elevates your fucking esports scene. And Valve told Launders they could do nothing about it. Like, just go fuck yourself. Now, I'm sorry. This will be a deeply unpopular opinion, but I'll say it again. If I'm a pro player, or if I'm someone who commentates your game and therefore helps promote your business, I should get a little bit of special treatment, right? I should, you know, what they did to Launders in that instance was bad. And the fucked up thing is, if this change had been in place when that happened to him, Launders would have got all his inventory back. And Launders got with the QR code, I think, as well. So, you know, it's less cringe than it's like, hey, it's me, your brother, or whatever. But it's just, it's, you know, crazy. So this is a good change. This is a good change. I don't know if you've noticed as well. I think scams are on the up right now. And I'll tell you, it's pretty sad when we're dealing with a landscape where you've got like fucking QR codes being got, people are doing it live at events now. We've got YouTube still haven't taken down those fucking AI ads. I'm still getting Nico. I'm still getting Apex. People are watching my shit. I go, and what about Falcons? And then AI Nico comes up. Like, YouTube aren't even stopping that. If we agree digital items have value, then stealing your digital items is theft. Even if I socially engineer it, it's still theft. There's not like a clause in the law where it's like, if I trick you into giving me access to your bank account and I steal all your money, I'm still a thief, you know? So, pretty crazy that's where we're at. And it is where we're at. That's quite literally what's happening right now. So I also think the sheer volume of scams that are going on. Like, imagine what it's like in Valve's fucking customer services right now. There are just so many people getting got because fucking Nico with the strange moving mouth told them, yes, you heard me right. Skins for everyone. That's right. Skins for everyone. Oh, Falcon. Skins for everyone. And they go, oh, skins for everyone. Skins for me. I'm poor. I've got no money. Yeah, I'm signing up. Nico told me to do it. Yeah. Just as well the ad isn't fucking jump off a cliff, isn't it? Like, I am Nico here. Trust me, you'll fly, bro. Oh, I love you. You know, fucking. But anyway, you know, young people are fucking impressionable and stupid. So Valve are probably dealing with fucking thousands and thousands and thousands of these scams every day. And they're probably like, you know what, fuck this. I don't know how much it's got to do with the trading sites and the gambling sites and the betting sites, but I'll wager anything that fucking pisses them off, Valve fucking secretly like. So let's get into some of the different opinions that I think might be interesting. I'll start with my chum Zippel. You know what? He's a skins trader, right? But he seems to be one of the better ones, one of the more ethical ones, one of the guys that genuinely understands that people doing scams and rug pulls and degenerate gambling bullshit is bad for the scene. Just seems to be a guy who likes to, have an inventory and stuff like that. He did a pretty long and informative post about how this might change things. And so, and yeah, Jason, the chat's right. A lot of other traders are like talking about this as if Valve have done this to get them. And when I say them, I don't even mean as a collective. I mean them as an individual specifically. Anyway, Zippel, fortunately, isn't mentally ill. He's not crazy. And he's just put out a pretty interesting post, which seems to be contrary to what a lot of the panickers were saying. He's saying everyone's overreacting and it's going to be good. And you can see there it is. Now time for a no bullshit tweet and a sea of low IQ take. So I like it. He's already started off in that Richard Lewis fashion. He says, everyone is overreacting. The community is extremely adaptable. Valve may not always implement the solutions we think to be the best, but you better believe they have no intention to nuke their economy. Real panic would be if this was implemented and already deposited items on marketplaces could be reversed, order trades, etc. It may suck for a while, but the only thing out of control is people's reactions. Upin and Buff are already operating again. Point 2. Marketplaces will become stronger. Those that smooth out the 7-day escrow period, that's in other words, when you do a trade on a site, that 7-day period now, you have to hold on to it, right? Because if the money goes out and then I go, I've got 7 days to get the money and the skins back, some individuals will absolutely do that. A lot of dishonest people on the internet. So the money essentially has to sit there until you can no longer get back the trade. That's what the problem is. So those that smooth out the 7-day escrow period will be the winners. You will likely see a change of user base, and some will grow on the basis of this update. Skin for skin trading will remain the same. Originally, I thought it would allow a user to mass trade and then cancel the non-profitable trades. What that means is if I did a block trade and then the market changed while we were in that waiting period, and basically some trades were now no longer going to be profitable just because of the margins. The market had changed to make a particular skin no longer as valuable as it was. I could cancel the individual skins and then I wouldn't have to trade them, and all of a sudden therefore lose the money or not gain as much money on those trades. Now, that doesn't happen. If you trade in a block, the whole trade either will go through or be cancelled. So you would miss out on the profitable items as well as the non-profitable items, and then have a 30-day market ban after that. So people aren't going to do that now. And as he says, as he goes on here, but with the 30-day trade lock received from reverting, this isn't going to happen. Cash trading will continue. People forget that for many people, it's the communication, trust, and knowledge of the trader that is the appeal, the human touch. However, the entry barrier to begin cash trading will be higher and it will favor more established names. Not really a lot to add to that. It's just another market reality. Whoever you trust, whoever you know, whoever is a public-facing individual, you're more likely to do borderline sketchy deals on the internet with them. Steam will become a great place to flip certain items, as it is the only place with no reversals. Activity here will increase, and it should be fun to observe that. What can I do as a cash trader? I can guarantee that the agreed amount will be paid out regardless of price movements during the reversal period. Same with sales. This is again something that will be appealing to buyers and sellers and will quickly sort out shitty cash traders who don't keep their word and leave the rest. Gambling sites take another hit. Although they will find some obscure way to have skins become deposited, but with the impulsive nature of gambling, this update might serve as a final blow to skin depositing being a thing for the casual gambler. Because ultimately, again, if you are going to drop the skins in, then there's this fucking 7-day cool-off period. That means you're going to have to find ways do the whole thing. So the gambling sites are definitely taking a long, hard look at this now, which is fine. Skins gambling shouldn't exist. It really shouldn't. There is still a stupid amount of people being scammed daily. This will now almost 100% stop. If scammed, they get 30-day bans after revoking their items. In those 30 days, the dumb people who get scammed can go study to become less dumb. It is a win for everyone. Yes, there is speculation that some scammers will do the reverse, sell an item for cash and then reverse the skin, but this will be highly inefficient and not will be a thing for a multitude of reasons I will cover at another time. And then his final point in this thread is for everyone who will pray for cheaper skins, skins will naturally drop slightly with new restrictions being introduced. We saw the same with the P2P change. Logically, this should not have a larger effect. The main reason for prices dropping would be marketplaces being too slow to adapt, which does not seem to be the case. It is unfortunate to see established traders on X jump the wagon on skins are dead, rip, GG, we are gone, instead of partaking in useful discussions. And so, I agree with all of that. Now, I wouldn't cry if the death of skins trading was happening. It wouldn't bother me. I don't have skin in the game, no pun intended. It's just an irrelevant sidebar to esports, and unfortunately has bled into esports in a way that's created a lot of corruption, a lot of bad behavior, and ruined actually a lot of professional careers. There's a lot more players than you think that are addicted to fucking skins gambling, are obsessed with having big inventories. It's fucking cringe, in my opinion. I can't imagine being so engaged in that if I was a professional player. Like, that would just be, you know, I wouldn't work with a player like that if I was a manager, a coach, or an org, frankly. But anyway, he goes on to add Zippel. He does. He says, Valve, why are you making changes to this instead of the game? That's what some people say. As someone who did trading for many years, I can guarantee you that the amount of people being scammed, emailing Valve employees, personal mails, the support tickets, maybe lawsuits, etc., they have been getting bombarded. And it is likely the exact reason this is happening. The economy has grown to a size where they had to do something. And this update literally means that Valve will have more time to work on quality updates and should ultimately benefit everyone in the long run. Now, listen, I don't agree with that, because the team that are dealing with this and the team that deal with the updates are never the twain shall meet. But it is nice if Valve can free up resources. Resources can be used for other things. If I can make some layoffs, for example, I can hire some other people in other departments. So we'll see if that actually has any effect. And he did, to Zippel's credit, he did add, I'm not saying support agents going to create maps. I'm saying people underestimate the workload on Valve that relates to things this update fixes. To me, it seems logical. If you take away a large burden from a company, it allows for positive change, regardless of whether you see that as copium or not. There is no world where it has a net negative impact on the game development. And so pretty much agree with everything he said. It's kind of like one or two minor details, certainly nothing worth arguing over. Obviously, as I'm someone that believes in more robust consumer protections. I mean, we've had all this with the Stop Killing Games movement recently. I've said for years, I highlighted that when Ross first started doing it, up until the point where it looked like it was maybe going to die off the first time because he wasn't able to get a specialist lawyer for it. I hate the world we live in where you don't own physical media. You're told, hey, pay this and you own it. But if you get kicked off Amazon for any reason, all the things you bought, Amazon Prime, all the digital media, all the books, it's all gone. You don't have it anymore. You don't physically own it. They should be, in my opinion, if they remove your account, they should be legally obliged to send you a physical copy of everything you've bought, because you have elected to buy those things in digital format. If I can no longer access them, you should legally be forced to provide me with an alternative. That's where I stand with it. Then also, you've got it. It's the same with Steam. Your Steam account, they've said publicly that if you die, you can't pass your Steam account on. Now, I don't think anyone at Valve would ever enforce that law, but that's ridiculous. What? I can't leave my Steam account to like my child or like my brother or something? Like, You know, or whoever it might be, you know. Let's say, you know, I'm like terminally ill in my 20s and I've got a baller fucking Steam account. Like, I might want to leave that to somebody before I shuffle off, you know, and I should be allowed to. But no, they say you can't because it's a security issue. Yep. So, and they've said they'll shut down any account they catch having anyone do that. Now, again, I just don't think they'd look into it, but it's out. That's outrageous. I don't think, and this is a controversial one. I think if you put money into a game and you get your access to that game revoked, unless it's some sort of extreme circumstance, they shouldn't be able to permaban you ever. Permaban should be against some sort of consumer charter. I don't care how many tantrums I have in a game of Dota 2. I should never be permanently banned because I put money into the game. If you want to permanently ban me, you must refund me. Simple as that. So I have a very robust consumer stance on all of this stuff. And I think Valve have got away for too long with the whole skins thing of saying, you know, your account, your account, your problem. Your account, your problem is not going to work for me. That's not true. You would fix it if it was this. You would fix it if it was that. If for some reason I couldn't access games on my account, you would fix it. Why? It's my account, my problem, right? So it's you know, this is a step in the right direction for all of you guys, and honestly, it should probably go a little bit further. The reaction has been relatively in agreement in relation to the thread. It says there, you know, like people are pointing out, I don't think it affects the cash sales for websites in any way. If you look at like CS Float, if you want to get the funds, you have to confirm the trade, and then he goes like, you know, blah, blah, blah. He explains that he didn't understand your whole trade account is banned for 30 days if you do a reversion. Someone said any change that makes skin cells, by the way, the popularization of that word is solely down to me. And therefore, that is what real cultural impact looks like, my friends. But any change that makes the skin cells upset is a good update. My Twitter is full of them crying. So weird to relish things that make half the community upset. Half the community are not skins traders, by the way, at all. Someone's like, yeah, fuck your skins. So it was relatively balanced. I mean, ultimately, I think fair enough. Now, there was one example, and this is likely the direction it's going to go in. So this is the change from CS Float. CS Float is pretty popular. It's one of the, you know, more popular sites, I'm told, and this is what they do now. So Valve has recently pushed an update that allows trades to be reversed for a period of 7 days. As a seller, you get credited for a sale after the trade protection period ends, which will be 8 days. Attempting to reverse a trade offer on Steam for a CS Float sale results in a permanent ban from the service. Thank you for your patience and continued support. So I don't think it's going to have too much of an impact on trading sites like that, which is fine. You know, I mean, I don't feel as strongly about them as I do about the gambling websites. They're just a necessary, not even evil. They're just a necessary embarrassment. And so you can just set up that as a rule at your site and the sites are likely to continue. So anyone saying the trading sites are going to be down is pretty wild. I mean, you might get some people, they want to trade a skin, the price changes, they reverse it, they'll just tank the 30-day rather than lose the money. You might get some people who, like, you know, impulsively decide they want to trade all their skins away, then they have a change of heart and they can get them back now. You know, so whatever. I just don't think any of this is bad at all. And so ultimately, I'm going to say this was just a very good update from Valve. They thought about the competitive side of the game, they thought about the esports scene, and they thought about the trading scene, and they made improvements to all three. I don't know how much more you want. Now, how much more could you want from an update? Very good question. So this went off, and it was a big one. Lots of comments on this. It was the most commented on thread, and for an update that really, it doesn't have a lot of parts to it. It's big. People were really going crazy. By the way, Sloth Squadron's back. He did a post on the MP9 changes. I'll just bring that up so you can have a look at it. It's an in-depth analysis of the gun. This is where Sloth Squadron specializes. He says here, the MP9's jumping accuracy in line with other SMGs makes a lot of sense. It was an outlier in its weapon class. That's what I was saying earlier. And it was often frustrating to play against in the select situations. Players could jump to throw off the aim of other players, yet still consistently hit their shots, even at medium ranges. The recoil changes are a tad confusing to me, though. The MP9 already had one of the largest recoil patterns among the SMGs. While further increasing this will make it slightly more difficult to use, its accuracy and damage remain unmatched at its price point. Simply reducing its accuracy slightly or worsening its damage to fall off the distance would have likely had a greater impact on its popularity. So he thinks they should have made the damage less and kept the recoil the same. I think why I think the recoil's a good change. If you watch how people were essentially playing with it, it was just you spray the full clip. You just spray the full clip and you run and gun and you jump with it and stuff. If the recoil is already getting, more and more exaggerated as you're doing that, you have to kind of burst it a little bit more. And I think you are more likely to lose trades if you do that. But again, not an expert. Certainly bow down to Sloth Squadron's wisdom on it. Anyway, here we go. Congrats to the solo developer for pushing out this update. Amazing work from the indie company. Bro, who asked for minus Anubis? Minus Anubis is bonkers. Why remove Anubis? What the fuck? I expected nothing, and I am still disappointed. What the fuck? 12 years of Mirage and counting. Guys, I think the map is immortal. It is the only map to have been added to the competitive map pool and never once removed. Yeah, it's the best map in terms of high-level competitive play. It always produces good games. It's hugely popular to play down in the plebiscite. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Why would it? What is Valve doing? Whoever manages the active duty map pool must be fired. That's an upvoted comment. And whoever is managing their anti-cheat, if any. Did they not make any changes to Overpass to make it less of a slog for T-side? Can we have one map that's a slog for T-side, please? Are we allowed? Can we have one map where the T's actually are at a disadvantage in the pool? Is that, because that was how the game was designed. It used to be you were on a disadvantage on every map. T-side was the hard side by design. That was how the game was made. And now T-side is the best side on every map. I think we can have one map where it's hard for the T's right now. Who the fuck said remove Anubis? Fuck off. Fridge gift time. There's this guy always posts this, I'm pretty sure, but it might not be the account I'm thinking of. But there's one guy. It's just every time there's an update, he's in their fridge gift. There's that gift of the guy opening the fridge as if he's going to eat something, and then there's nothing in the fridge. That's what they say. So yeah, there's nothing in the fridge. So don't participate in Season 3. Don't cry and go for your badge. Don't play Overpass. Just, don't do anything. And there you go. Small indie company couldn't get one map ready for the seasonal update, a map that isn't even created by them. The work is already done. So as a result, their map pool update looks like it was decided by a fucking random number generator, and leave it to the absolute geniuses at Valve to create an anti-scam feature that will overwhelmingly be used to perpetrate scams, not prevent them. These people are so incompetent, it's baffling. A group of polar bears with thumbs, I don't know why he's picked polar bears there, would be a better fucking dev team. Literally, Valve is the definition. By the way, this is one of the worst accounts on Reddit, right? He's one of the worst accounts on Reddit. He has never made a post that has any opinion. Literally the definition of failing upwards. Yeah, Valve are a failure. Yeah, total failure company. They've failed upwards, right? That's failing upwards means you fail and then you get a chance to be more successful. You fail again, you get a chance to be even more successful. You fail again. That's what he's saying Valve did. Valve revolutionized the way that we buy games. They created something that simply didn't exist before it did. They cornered that market. They made award-winning game after award-winning game after award-winning game. The Steam Deck is some of the best handheld tech that's on the market right now. What else? Their fucking VR headset is fucking out of this world as well. So I don't know. But Valve are failures, apparently. They failed upwards. So naturally, this guy will be deactivating his Steam account in protest because Valve get a cut of all of the sales, right? Literally the definition of failing upwards, making millions of dollars but can't hire people to optimize one map. or hire someone who's well-versed in skins economy to come up with better protection for scams. Fridge GIF again, another one. So funny, guys. Keep posting. Take out one of the best maps. Subjective, of course, doesn't matter. The anti-cheat is still disabled. No, that'd be you. They killed peer-to-peer trading. Not really. This is another one of the accounts. He posts this every time. In fact, I'm always terrified to look at fucking people's accounts on Reddit because people just post in porn subreddits and stuff. But this guy posts this every time. Yeah, look, the good news is, right, so here you go, right? Missing CSGO things. If you go and look at his account, you can see how often he posts this. This guy's just a fucking loser of just such spectacular proportions. That's 4 times on one page of his history. It's like fucking hell. Like, I just can't imagine being that much of a fucking loser. Like, I just can't deal with it. Anyway, there's no danger zone. That mode no one played. Flying Scoutsman. Map-based factions. There's no anti-cheat. We're going to keep perpetuating this lie. There's no kill cam. There's no ability to watch friends and casual and matchmaking in games. There's no vibrant skin colors and black color. There's no black in the game, apparently. There's no black color. Fix the foil stickers because they're too dull in CS2. This is like, again, fix them. Fix them. What are you, a fucking magpie? It's just a shiny object that's less shiny in this game because of how it renders color and light and texture. The return error user unknown when other players using a stat track weapon. Return stat track counter in the bottom right HUD. Tone down the sun on maps Anubis. Don't have to worry about that anymore. Fix dirty and washed out. Like, how hard is this fucking twat reaching? It's just unbelievable. Every update he's going to post that, by the way. And then someone goes, that other guy who posts all the time, Fridge GIF, and you could keep going. Wish you'd fucking go away and keep going away. Is this April the 1st already? No. A date like that should get downvoted. I guess he means an update. Whatever. Is he trying to make the word update a cool piece of slang by calling them date? Oh, have you seen the new date? Here it is. Again, this guy again. They haven't done a single thing to try and fix the game. This is pathetic. The MP9 nerf doesn't even address why running around with an MP9 is so strong in the first place. All right, then. I'm sure the gun will still be broken. Decent, but it's starting to feel like they'll never release a major update again. Yeah, that's right. Most popular game on Steam. They're never going to do a major update for it. They're just never going to do a major update again. Ever. You're right. You've nailed it. No movement update. No sub-tick update. No anti-cheat update. They never announce anti-cheat updates. They're happening all of the time. You couldn't even tell me what sub-tick is or what it does, you fucking cretin. You fucking smelly loser. You couldn't tell me what sub-tick is. If I asked you and put $1 million in cash in front of you, explain to me what sub-tick is and what it does and how it functions in the game, you could not explain it to me, and I would take all of that money back. You couldn't do it. I could give you a week to study and you couldn't articulate it. You prat. Here he is again. They really, by the way, worst account, one of the worst accounts on Reddit, 100%. They really need to release videos going over these changes. Because what the fuck is this new trade feature? Super easy to understand. I just read it to you. Didn't see anyone in the chat having their eyes roll up into their fucking skull, unable to grasp it. How do you use it? When does it go into effect? Genuine question. Oh, I don't know. Maybe now, when the update was in. Like, the fact they just throw a little blog post out when the skins economy is worth billions is nuts. Literally an advanced FAQ at the bottom with a hyperlink. This guy's too stupid to figure out what a hyperlink is. Then look, there's a whole FAQ. It literally explains nothing, you bouffon. That was his attempt at spelling buffoon. Like, say what you will about Black Dogs 22 and his insane fixation with me and inability to avoid any thread I'm even mentioned in. He obviously has some intelligence. You sort of do to be obsessed with people in a way. But this is just insane. This is just ridiculous. Calling someone G and Luigi Buffon. Expectations were low and this still blows. That's it. Where cash... Yes, still no anti-cheat. Let the trading sites use bots again so I can finish selling my skins. No cheating VAC updates. Remember, they've never announced those in any gameplay patch ever, but fine. Valve just proving they are total shit at making new things. This is an update to an existing thing. Don't know how it's relevant. No wonder their big successes are just rip-offs of user-created content and mods. What an incredibly disappointing update. L update. What a bitter disappointment. That's how your parents feel. Overhyped and under-delivered as per you. Where did Valve hype anything about this update? Disappointment again. Worth the billions of dollars they make from the market. Fucking laziest company in the world at times, I swear. Seriously, this is all they could scrape together. Garbage like usual. No anti-cheat. No fixes to subtick. No FPS optimizations, said the cave-dwelling gremlin who plays on a Pentium 486 in 2025 on fucking 20 FPS in your ranked games. We can't call that an up-to-date. It's more like a fix. This shit's pathetic at this point, XD. Nice, we can now get wall hacked on a different map. Good update. They removed third best map in the pool and added useless garbage nobody over 1500 elo on Faceit ever played. Apparently, no high-level players ever wanted to play Overpass. I see no bright future for the game. Perfect example how to loose players with an update. Overpass is your new map. I'm out. You will not be missed, dickhead. You will not be missed. Most popular game on Steam. Let's just see how many people walk out of playing Counter-Strike because Overpass is a map. We'll see. Why the fuck are we removing more maps from the already limited map pool? It's 1-for-1, dickhead. Do you know how that works? You know how like a 1-for-1 trade works? They don't, of course. And virtually no updates to anti-cheat. Who the fuck is managing this shit at Valve, if any at all? Valve fucking sucks. And there you go. Just a collection of pleb opinions saying pleb things. So they don't, just quit. Stop playing. Keep saying it, guys. Vote with your feet. It's weird because I don't see CS2 dropping down the rankings, going from first to third to fourth most popular game on Steam. I see it at number 1 every day I log on. So why won't you stop playing it? Be the change you want to be. But they won't. And so I thought it was a good update. But as you can see, Reddit thinks it's a weak update. Would I have removed Anubis? No, I would have took out Inferno. I understand why they didn't. It's an iconic map. It's more iconic than Anubis by a long chalk. It's a legendary map. They're hoping these changes will fix it. I'll wager they made some of these changes specifically with Inferno. You're a fucking moron. Gabagool for life. It's a shame you got a cool name. Gabagool for life says, I love you, but it's insane you think your opinion isn't pleb either. I'm a 20-year veteran of covering Counter-Strike in all of its forms, had hosted many events, worked as an analyst, worked as a commentator, had direct contact with Valve, leaked the existence of CS2, was gaslit to be told it didn't exist. I host the current CS tournaments in the current meta. I've got connections to professional players at all levels, connections to all the ancillary organizations around the professional scene. I interact with those people on a daily basis. I am the definition of not a pleb. You are the definition of fucking banned from my channel. What a fucking crazy thing to say, to compare me to a fucking pleb Redditor crying about a fucking CS update. Look at it. You don't really know about the game. You don't play it, do you? So I couldn't possibly know about game balance or Valve's intentions or any of the other stuff relevant to this conversation. Just fuck off, play your face it, mate. What are you, 2000 elo? You're a big deal. Your opinion's way better than this fucking person. I'm what you call an expert. You're what I call a cunt. That's life. And I know it makes you sad. But just while you're still listening, before you go and complain about being banned and then put this clip somewhere or mention it on your Twitter account with 4 fucking followers, right? Just think about this. Who the fuck are you to tell me I know nothing about this game? You see, for you to be able to do that, you would have to know more than me, contributed more than me, achieved more than me. You haven't. Have you? You're a troll Twitch account saying things, I love you, but you're a pleb because you don't play the game. I play the game. My opinion is sacrosanct. All right, then. Cool. See you at the next major, mate. Come up and shake my fucking hand as you lift the trophy, you fucking Doyle. You know, people are so fucking unbelievably, unfathomably stupid. It's actually crazy. Counter-Strike fans, how did you fall so far? We used to be the rock and roll. When Valve didn't do something, we used to fix it ourselves and say, fuck Valve. We used to fix shit so well, Valve would take our shit that we did and put it in the game. They would hire us to go work at Valve. That's how we rolled. Nobody cried, right? That's just what we did. That's what old school Counter-Strike was. Now, somebody pre-fired me. Valve don't care. I grind face it all day. I know more than anyone. Just losers, man. You're just all fucking morons and losers. You know, stop me if you've heard this one before. You say every caster in the scene doesn't understand the game on a high level, but you, a pleb, that has never doesn't have 10,000 hours of watching Counter-Strike, you do know the game, of course. Of course, that's exactly how it works. That's exactly how expertise works.